Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Hello, my fellow pilgrims. Welcome back. Today we are reading from Book 3, Chapter 9. So let's go ahead and open to page 66 and begin. Among these vices and crimes and all the endless ways in which men do wrong, there are also the sins of those who follow the right path but go astray. By the rule of perfection, these lapses are condemned if we judge them aright. But the sinners may yet be praised, for they give promise of better fruit to come, like the young shoots which later bear the ears of corn. Sometimes we also do things which have every appearance of being sins against nature or against our fellow men, but are not sins, because they offend neither you, the Lord our God, nor the community in which we live. For example, a man may amass a store of goods to meet the needs of life or some contingency, but it does not necessarily follow that he is a miser. Or he may be punished by those whose duty it is to correct misdemeanors, but it is by no means certain that they do it out of wanton cruelty. Many of the things we do may therefore seem wrong to men, but are approved in the light of your knowledge, and many which men applaud are condemned in your eyes. This is because the appearance of what we do is often different from the intention with which we do it, and the circumstances at the time may not be clear. But when you suddenly command us to do something strange and unforeseen, even if you had previously forbidden it, none can doubt that the command must be obeyed, even though for the time being you may conceal the reason for it, and it may conflict with the established rule of custom in some forms of society. For no society is right and good unless it obeys you. But happy are they who know that the commandment was yours. For all that your servants do is done as an example of what is needed for the present, or as a sign of what is yet to come. Today I want to walk through some of these different types of sins or scenarios and try to give clarity to what St. Augustine is talking about. Near the beginning, he says, quote, "Sometimes we also do things which have every appearance of being sins against nature or against our fellow men, but are not sins because they offend neither you, the Lord our God, nor the community in which we live." Unquote. So an example of this. One time when I lived in Vegas, I had to make a run to the grocery store. It was probably about 8 o'clock in the evening, and it was dark outside. As I was walking out of the grocery store, I saw a man sitting on a bench near the store who looked kind of cold and homeless. The bench that he was sitting on was on the side of the store, and it was in a place that was just in complete darkness, kind of covered by trees, over on the side, kind of set back. For a moment, I wanted to go help him, but the whole situation just felt very unsafe. There wasn't a lot of people in the parking lot. It was later in the evening. There was not a lot of people around. I just didn't feel safe, so I headed to my car and I drove home. When I got home, I told my husband about it, and he didn't think I did anything wrong. But I still felt like it was a sin of omission, like I didn't do something. So the next time I went to confession, I told the priest about it, and he said, "You didn't sin. As a woman, you don't need to put yourself in seemingly dangerous situations. You did feel bad for him, and you wish that you could help. But with the way things are now, you don't need to put yourself at risk, especially as a mother. Your kids do need you." So I wasn't trying to be hateful, greedy, or rude. It just felt like not a safe situation for me. This is a good lesson in not judging people's motives or judging why they may lack in doing something. Moving on to the next thing that he talks about. He writes, quote, "Many of the things we do may therefore seem wrong to men, but are approved in the light of your knowledge, and many which men applaud are condemned in your eyes." This one is probably going to ruffle some feathers, but it is what the church teaches, and so here we go. I can't tell you how many times people have chastised my husband and me for not using birth control of some kind. Men all the time think my husband is crazy for not getting a vasectomy, especially at his age. He's late 40s. And whenever I go to the doctor, I am continually hounded by the doctors to get on birth control because of my age. Actually, I've always been hounded to get on birth control, but that's another story. And they treat me like I'm a teenager who doesn't know anything. And they always give me the eye roll when I tell them that I'm Catholic and I don't want to put poison into my body. So the world sees my husband and I as being wrong and irresponsible. On the flip side, people will applaud the use of IVF, even though the church condemns it. The way we all try to play God by either trying to thwart children through artificial means and mutilation, or how we try to create children through artificial means is astounding. And I know the weight of not being able to have children is gigantic. But that does not mean we can attain children however we want. The last one to discuss is where he says, quote, "But when you suddenly command us to do something strange and unforeseen, even if you had previously forbidden it, none can doubt that the command must be obeyed, even though for the time being you may conceal the reason for it and it may conflict with the established rule of custom in some forms of society." I was trying to think of a really good example of this, and finally the act of circumcision came to my mind. There was a time when God commanded circumcision for the Jews, especially for Jewish baby boys. This was how they entered the covenant. Once Christianity was founded, there were arguments about whether people becoming Christian had to still get circumcised or not. The Jewish converts to Christianity wanted to still do the circumcision thing because it was part of their custom. They've been doing it for forever. But St. Paul realizes that it's not needed anymore. And St. Peter has a dream where he comes to understand that certain animals are not off limits anymore, and he knows then that Christianity is for Jews and Gentiles alike. What God had once commanded was no longer forbidden, and Peter, along with the other apostles, including Paul, follow the promptings of the Holy Spirit. So, hopefully this gave you some ideas of what St. Augustine is talking about, and maybe you have your own examples, but those are the ones that I could think of after a little thought. But that will be all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. Meet me back here soon for Chapter 10, and until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.